Hi, I'm Klaus Hermann, founder and editor of Farbspielfoto.com, where we make your photography simple. This tutorial video is an excerpt of my personal workflow courses for Lightroom and Photoshop. If you're watching this prior to September 15th, 2015, you have the unique chance of snatching both courses as a free bonus. Just stick around till the end of the video where I will tell you how. And now, have fun with the tutorial. Next up is the Details tab, which is a very important tab. Now, this is an interior shot, which means that it's rather dark. So I had to ramp up the ISO to, I think I used ISO 800. Yeah, you see it up here. If you look here, it says ISO 800. So those images were shot at ISO 800, while my Nikon camera is really good at high ISO values. It does introduce some noise. Okay, so noise reduction and sharpening are really very necessary, very important for this type of image. So what I'm going to do this detail work is first I'm going to zoom in. Now, you may not see that zoom slider when you open Lightroom. And the way to get that is, to go here to that triangle and open that drop-down box. And you get different options here. One is the zoom control here. If you click on it, it's going to be gone. Open that menu, click on zoom again, and you get that zoom slider. It's very important to zoom into at least 100% or even 200% to be able to really judge what you're doing when you're doing sharpening and noise reduction, because that's really about the details. That's why it's called details in that subtitle. Now you can see when I'm zooming in, there's some noise here, and it's not the sharpest of all images. Okay, and we're going to try to cure that, at least in some parts. So what I'm going to do, and I'm using the navigator window, by the way. In the navigator window up here, you see that little white rectangle. That is the current preview area that you see. And you can go in there and drag that with your mouse, which is more convenient if you're zoomed in really, really close. Sometimes you just lose track of where you are in the image, and your navigator's view shows you where you are, and it lets you change that view. Now you have another preview area here. I think that's too small to actually see anything, but I'm going to use it anyway as a second view. So when I do sharpening and noise reduction, what I usually first do is noise reduction, okay, and then I do the sharpening. So I'm not going top to bottom in that panel. I'm going bottom to top, actually. So the first thing that I do is move that luminance slider up, and what you will see in the image is, you can see it takes a while, so Lightroom is working hard to do that, but you've seen that all that noise that we saw here just disappeared. So if I disable the effect of the details panel, you can see that we've got lots of noise, especially color noise. And Lightroom starts out, when you open the develop module, with some color noise reduction, because that's always present in your images and that needs to be reduced. So when I turn off the details tab and remove those effects from the image, it actually looks worse than the initial view that we had in the develop module. So you see lots of noise. If I enable it again, the noise is gone. I'm going to go a bit high, excuse me, a bit higher here. And then I'm going to try and use the details slider to get back some of the details, because going higher on that noise reduction means that the image will get blurry. You will lose details, because noise is nothing else than details. Okay, let me just drink a sip of water. So that my noise holds up. my voice holds up, not my noise. So adding noise reduction means that you're losing details. Lightroom and any other image processing software has a hard time telling the noise in your image apart from the edges of the objects. And you can tell that when I move up the luminance slider. If I move it down, you can see the details come back to the image. Also at those edges, you can see the fine details here. If I move it up too much, you can see that those details are gone completely. Okay, so don't go overboard with that luminance slider. Drag it slowly and just try to find a position where the noise in the on those phases where you have no edges or details in the image is reduced nicely. Then come into the with the detail slider and try to get back some of those details that you've lost. Okay, and you can go back and forth between the luminance and detail slider. Contrast is going to increase the contrast in your details. So that can also bring back some noise, but it can also bring back some of the details. So it's a fine line to really get the degree of noise reduction perfect in your image. It's not easy, and you have to work that some to really get the best balance between the two. So I'm going to leave those noise reduction settings as they are right now, and I'm going to go into the sharpening section to get those details back some more. And I'm going to use a trick here. So you see there is some sharpening applied to that image right out of the box. That's important to note. And I'm going to move that amount slider up some more, paying attention to the image. And at that point, I see some of the noise coming back. So I'm going to back that off just a little bit. The radius is in a way the size of the details that you want to sharpen. Okay, so try to bring that up just a little bit and see what it does to your image. So those details that you actually want to keep are usually a bit higher than the actual pixel that is the default value. Okay, so I think the details look good now. We've brought back some of the noise by the sharpening, but now the trick comes. And the trick is in that masking slider. That's actually the most important slider in that section of Lightroom. And what you need to do is hold down the Option key on your keyboard and then drag that slider to the right. You see that immediately your image turns white, but don't worry, that's just a preview. And what's happening when you turn that, when you pull that masking slider to the right is the amount of areas where the sharpening is applied is reduced to only the edges in the image. And that's actually where those details are that you want to sharpen. The remaining parts, let me do that again. I'm pressing down the Option key and dragging that slider. The remaining parts, the black parts, are masked. In the black parts, no sharpening is applied. Okay, that's important to understand. So drag that slider to a position where you see the details appear in your preview. See those white edges around the edges that are actually edges on the furniture. Okay, and that's where you want to apply those the sharpening, because then the remaining parts, those areas, for example here in the middle, are not sharpened, and it does not increase the noise in those areas. That's a very important thing. So you see, you need to strike a balance between noise reduction and sharpening. Those two go hand in hand. You cannot really separate them. If you do noise reduction, you're going to lose details, and you do need to add some sharpening to counter that effect, to really make your image have less noise and remain or retain the sharpness that you usually have in your images. If you're watching this prior to September 15th, 2015, you're lucky, because you can snatch your free copy of my personal workflow courses for Lightroom and Photoshop, and here's how it works. Simply head over to the link below where the 5-day deal team organizes the biggest bundle sale in the history of photography. It's running between September 10th and 15th, 2015, and this is your unique chance to get a huge bundle of high-class photography education and tools from the world's best photographers at an insane discount. No matter which type of photography you're into, this is the best investment you can make in your own photography. And in addition to that, you can even win over $50,000 worth in prizes. If you purchase the bundle through this link, I will send you the download links to my full personal workflow courses within 24 hours. but please do make sure that you use this link to start your checkout process for the bundle. Otherwise, I will not have your details and I cannot send you anything. So, I hope I'll see you for the 5-day deal event. Take care and have fun.